By this point we've explored how probate works and why it sometimes moves slowly.
And the more we look at it, the more it starts to make sense why families get frustrated.
Right. Because from the outside it feels like nothing is happening.
But when you actually look at the structure of the system, a lot is happening, just not in the way people expect.
Exactly. The court isn't reacting to arguments or emotions.
It's reacting to documentation.
Which means the real question isn't who's upset.
The real question is, what records exist?
And once you understand that, the whole probate process starts to look different. Episode 6.
Working within the probate process.
How documentation and procedure reveal the facts of an estate.
When problems arise in probate, families often feel pressure to act quickly.
It can feel like the situation requires confrontation or immediate action.
But probate courts rarely respond to arguments or accusations alone.
Instead, the system responds to documentation.
That distinction explains why some probate disputes escalate while others resolve through procedure.
In practice, families usually approach probate problems in one of two ways.
The first approach focuses on personal conflict.
Arguments, accusations, and emotional disagreements can quickly dominate the situation.
But this approach rarely produces clear answers.
The second approach focuses on documentation and procedure.
This approach asks a simple question: what documentation exists?
Because probate courts are designed to evaluate records, not arguments.
When documentation is filed with the court, it becomes part of the official record.
And once information becomes part of the court record, the court can act on it.
This is why probate often progresses through documentation rather than confrontation.
When records are requested, reviewed, and filed properly, the facts begin to emerge.
And that process allows the court to supervise the estate effectively.
In the next section, we'll look more closely at how documentation actually reveals the facts of a probate case. Once documentation begins to move through the system, the probate process becomes much clearer.
Because probate doesn't uncover facts through investigation.
Instead, the system reveals facts through a series of documented steps.
Each step creates a record that becomes part of the court file.
And once information enters the court record, the court can act on it.
This process usually begins with a simple request for information.
First, information is requested or reviewed.
Often this means reviewing the estate's inventory.
The inventory is the document that lists the assets reported to the court.
If something appears missing or incorrect, an objection can be filed.
This formally asks the court to review the information provided.
If documentation is still incomplete, a motion to compel may follow.
A motion to compel asks the court to require documents or action.
If the court agrees, it may issue an order.
That order becomes part of the official probate record.
Each step adds more documentation to the case.
And that documentation gradually reveals the facts.
This is how probate courts resolve questions about an estate.
Through documentation, filings, and court supervision.
Sometimes, however, the information needed isn't already inside the estate records.
It may be held by banks, financial institutions, or other companies.
And obtaining those records can take time. In many probate cases, some of the information needed to understand an estate exists outside the estate itself.
Assets may be held by banks, brokerage firms, or other financial institutions.
Sometimes the records needed to understand those assets are held by companies outside the court's direct control.
In those situations, the estate must formally request the information.
Those requests may involve verification procedures or legal authorization.
And companies that hold financial records usually have their own compliance process.
Which means the information may not arrive immediately.
Instead, it often moves through a structured verification process.
First, the estate requests the records.
Next, legal authorization may be required to release them.
The company then performs its own compliance review.
Only after that review can the records be released.
Once obtained, those records can be incorporated into the estate's accounting.
At that point, the information becomes part of the official probate record.
And the court can evaluate the estate with more complete information.
This is why obtaining outside records sometimes takes weeks or even months.
The process involves multiple institutions and legal safeguards.
But once the records arrive, they help clarify the facts of the estate.
And that documentation allows the probate process to move forward.
In the final section, we'll look at how all of these steps come together in the closing stage of probate.
When all of these steps come together, the probate process begins to make sense as a complete system.
Each part of the process contributes to a larger goal.
Making sure the estate's property is accurately accounted for.
If we step back, the entire probate process follows a clear cycle.
First, the estate's assets must be identified.
Those assets are then reported to the court in the inventory.
Records are reviewed and verified as the case moves forward.
Eventually, a final accounting is prepared.
The accounting shows how the estate's assets were handled.
The court then reviews the information to confirm the estate has been properly administered.
Once the court is satisfied, the remaining assets can be distributed.
At that point, the estate administration is complete.
What once seemed confusing becomes a structured accounting process.
The court isn't trying to investigate families or settle personal disputes.
Its responsibility is simply to ensure the estate's accounting is accurate.
That is the purpose of probate supervision.
Careful documentation, verified records, and a final accounting.
Once those pieces are in place, the case can close with confidence.
Probate may seem slow while it is happening.
But the system is designed to move carefully,
so that the estate's final numbers are correct.
And when that accounting is complete, the probate process reaches its conclusion.